school in Rabat, in Lycée Descartes, and I actually had no options for higher education, in the sense that my parents didn't want me to leave Morocco, and when you're doing French school, usually you end up in France, in a university in France or something like that. And my mom didn't want me to do my studies in France. And so early on, she was like, there's this awesome university at Alumni, I didn't know about at all. She's like, it's American educational system, and I know you've because it's something that I told her about. Like, I wanted to go to the US, but it was so expensive to go there and such a risk, because for her 18 was super young. For me, it felt super young too, to leave Morocco and then go through these changes all of a sudden. So yeah, I applied to AUI and got in, and I was very happy to do that. I remember that I didn't know a thing about AUI, but when I came for the exam, it was just entering the campus the first time was mind-blowing. I was like, where are we? Does this really exist? And I've been in the US because my sister did her specialty for dentistry in the US, in Chicago. And I remember her university being in the middle of the city, because Northwestern University has a campus in Evanston, and it has another one in Chicago, downtown, for everything dentistry, medical, and everything. But it was impressive there because it was in the middle of a big city in the US. But when she moved to Minnesota and she was working at the university there, it was very blah, the campus there. And I remember I was like, what am I going to expect in Morocco? And I was very much mesmerized by how good it was thought of, how everything was there, the restaurant, how the housing was just better than the housing in the US. The library also was very, very impressive. Anyways, I remember feeling very lucky to have ended up.
So I started in the Moroccan education system until the end of, let's say, middle school, and there was a sort of exam that you took to see if you could get into the French mission school. So then I did that and went to the French high school, Descartes, in Rabat. And there again, it was quite interesting, because usually people go to the French high school system, would end up going to France, and I was considering that, but I thought that an all English language education, the programs that AUI offered were a far more international experience than what I could have gotten in France. And I really was attracted to that, the fact that it had that more global outlook beyond the one of France, that I thought was a bit too, in some ways, local here, because it is already part of, say, the context, the Moroccan context. So I was very much attracted to the international experience that AUI was and is providing.
Well, one of the things was exactly the international side of it, is just seeing that, okay, from the pictures, from the videos, you see that there's international students on campus, that it's in English, so it's already bringing in an openness to whatever you do. I mean, waiting for content to be translated to French is like you're losing light years if we're thinking about like how fast things can go if we all use if we're all connected to like the global landscape, and English gives that. I mean, today that is the language that goes the fastest. That's the fastest way to get information and to get connected with people. And so I joined in with the hopes of having an international career and bringing in an international perspective to my life. And honestly, at that point, for a Moroccan student coming from a very normal high school, all that international part looks very far. It looks like a dream that is too far away. And you're like, oh, people who travel, people who live in other places, people who do this, people who do it looks so far. And it looks like you have to be super wealthy to do it. You have to be extremely rich to be able to travel the world and do things like that. But AUI gives you, I think, and it was especially from the exchange, the stage where we go on exchange. That's when we realized that it's actually not as hard as society makes it like look like.
Yeah, I've had friends who were international students. I have friends now that are not Moroccans. Yeah, we just cross paths, depending on the circumstances that I'm in at that point in my life. Like now working at the OIP, or now working here in Ifran, living at the place that I live. Staff and guests and whatever, they go and they're like accommodated there. So, for example, I'm friends with some presidential interns who are not Moroccans because we live in the same building, so we hang out. Before exchange students, also, for example, if I had a friend that knew an exchange student or whatever, and we just happened to hang out together, yeah, we would talk and conversate and stuff. If they needed help or advice or whatever, yeah, I'd be there because I know what it's like to be in a country where you know no one, you don't know the language, you don't know the culture. Obviously, you're at a super huge disadvantage compared to other people. I know what it's like to be in that mental space or whatever. So yeah, I try to. This sounds like like I'm boasting myself, but it's true. I try to like help people out, try to give them advice and stuff, whatever. Yeah. I don't really like if I'm friends with somebody who's not from Morocco. I don't really think about it that much. It's just like a person and normal, whatever. Yeah.
At the beginning, it wasn't that clear, maybe. Huh?
Yeah.
But once I came here, I found out about that. But the one thing I can assure you is we knew that it's like an international. It has an international level. So I was expecting to meet Americans here and all those who speak the language from all over the world. Actually, the good thing about me staying here around campus, I was having exchange students for all semesters except the first one. The rest of the semesters I was taking roommates as exchange. They were exchange students here, and I was
their roommates.
I was their roommate, and it helped me a lot to know more about the culture, to learn the language, to practice the language more around campus, to travel with them all around Morocco, and I'm still keeping in touch with them.